In previous class we have seen inheritance topic. Today let us discuss super keyword. Super keyword acts somewhat like this keyword. We have already discussed about the this keyword. This keyword acts as a reference variable that represents the current object. Super keyword also acts as a reference variable. It always refers to the immediate superclass object of the subclass in which it is used. In these two situations we will use the super keyword. First one to call the superclass constructors, and second one to access the superclass members when they are hidden by subclass members. Let us see the first use of super keyword. This is our program we used while discussing inheritance. Here this class B is extending class A. When this statement get executed, what will happen? Let me run this program. Class A's constructor executed first, then this class B's constructor executed. But here we called only class B constructor. How did this class A constructor get executed? Defaultly, each constructor having super as the first statement. Similar to like this. Here, the super will call the superclass constructor. This is the first use of super keyword. Because of this call to the superclass constructor, this constructor A is executed. We no need to write explicitly. This will be provided by the compiler. Because of that reason, chain of objects will be created like this. For better understanding, let me modify this program. Instead of this no argument constructor in this class A, change it to parameterized constructor. Let us save this. Then let us run this program again. We got this error. Implicit super constructor A is undefined. Must explicitly invoke another constructor. Implicit statement would be something like this, but here we have parameterized constructor. No argument constructor is not there. Then how to call this parameterized constructor from this subclass? Can we call like this A of 10, 20? Let us run it again. The method A is undefined for this type B. It is treated as method, not as a call to constructor. Constructor can only be called from another constructor by using either this or super. This will be used to call the overloaded constructor within the same class. But here we want to call the superclass A's constructor from this subclass B. But here we want to call the superclass A's constructor from this subclass B's constructor. So we need to use super with appropriate arguments. Let me save this. Then it will be executed. If we are not providing any default or no argument constructor in superclass, here we define parameterized constructor. We do not have any default constructor or no argument constructor. Then we have to call the superclass parameterized constructor from this subclass by calling explicitly superclass parameterized constructor by passing appropriate parameters. While using the super keyword to call the superclass constructor, it should be the first statement within the constructor. Here this is not the statement, it is just comment. This is the first statement within this constructor B. This super should be used within the constructor only. We cannot use within the methods. Both this or super should be the first statements within the constructor. So either this or super can be used within constructor. Both cannot be used since they should be first statements within the constructor. So here we have seen how to call the superclass constructor by using super. Let us see the second usage of super. To access superclass members when they are hidden by subclass members. General usage would be something like this: super.member. Here member can be either method or it can be instance variable. When we have same names within the superclass and subclass, then subclass variables will hide the superclass variables. To access the superclass variables, we will use this super keyword. Let us understand more clearly with the example. Suppose if we have one more instance variable I within this subclass B, let us initialize its value to 100. Within this subclass we added one more variable I. and we assigned its value to 100. For this object, these four variables are available: I, K and I and J from the superclass. See here this method M2 within this subclass B, which is printing I, J and K values. Suppose if we call this method by using this reference variable B, let us run this. We got this output I100, J20, K30. We got this 100, J20 and K30 as output. When we are trying to access some variable, that will be searched within the subclass object. If it is not found, then only it will be searched within the immediate superclass object. Here I is available within the subclass object, so it will be printed. This is not printed. This subclass instance variable have highest priority than this superclass instance variable. So here this subclass instance variable I is hiding this superclass instance variable I. To access this superclass instance variable I, we have to use super. Let us see it in the program. By using the super keyword, we can access the superclass instance variable super.i. If we use super.i, this will not be used. This superclass object instance variable will be used. So now it will print 10 instead of 100. Let us execute it again. Now we got 10. It is accessing superclass instance variable I. Here we are passing 10 to that I. See here, to access the I, we are using super, but to access the J, we are not using super. This is also instance variable within the superclass A, but here we are not using super to access this variable. When there is no common variable names in superclass and subclass, then we don't need super keyword to access variables of superclass like J. J is only available within the superclass, but whereas for this I, this is available within the subclass as well as in superclass. In that case only we need super keyword to access this superclass instance variable. Let us see summary. Super is also like reference variable to access the instance variables of superclass, in which we are using this super keyword, and it can also be used to call the superclass constructors. We cannot use super keyword within static methods or static blocks. We have to use the super keyword only within the instance method or constructors.